a lot of people don't have the attention span for that, and that's been cultured into us. This is not historically accurate. Most people three generations ago had incredible attention spans and could learn all kinds of things, and we've sort of gotten to the point now where if we have two things going on at once, we're like the cat with the laser. So
there's a lot of messages in metal. I used to listen to a lot.
Oh yeah,
I still do. But so you think it's like the content, like the lyrics or something, like the message in the music?
The lyrics are going to trigger the hell out of some people.
Yeah.
They are going to absolutely make some people's heads explode. I was doxxed 2 years ago, and my response to it is yes. And I wrote a song called Millennial. And this thing, I'd never written a punk song before, and it literally is like Sex Pistols meet 1981 or 82 Metallica and Motley Crue all in a room together. It's really raw, really hard, really fast, and it's basically screaming at, not screaming, it's poking, it's sitting in the corner and laughing your butt off at the people who are out there trying to out white knight each other. You know,
you're a fucking snowflake. You're a fucking snowflake.
I don't necessarily call them snowflakes. I'm not a big fan of pejorative phrases like that because it just, what the people who are behind this whole cancel culture
SJWs, maybe SJWs.
Yes, the perpetually offended. You know,
well, you're kind of right in the aspect, Nash, that it kind of minimizes like the goofy, cynical behavior that they play into, like, oh, it's just nothing. And it's like, okay, it is nothing. Like, I don't let that kind of stuff bother us, obviously. But, there's something psychologically wrong with some of these people.
But again, you have to, okay, there's a culture of victimization out there, victim culture. It's huge. And you have to recognize these people are actually victims. They are not victims of what they think they're victims of, but they have been terribly abused. They have been horrifically misguided to the point where, I mean, I look at, okay, well, here's another goal of my music. My music, as they say today, the conservatism is the new punk. We are living in a time when the pipeline of information has certain intersections where there's a spigot, and every one of those spigots is governed by one set, for the most part, of ideological principles. One group that holds a very distinct ideological perspective. There's the education system, there's the movie industry, there's the music industry, there's the news media. And there are tech companies, and the tech companies are a huge spigot. They turn things on and turn things off at will, and they are all, for the most part, not entirely. Not to say that there's a huge conservative media presence out there, and there's a huge liberal media presence out there, and there's leftist and there's rightist and there's all kinds of stuff. Everybody is out there, but the representation.
Wait, everyone's out there because it seems dominated. It seems dominated by the left. It seems dominated by liberals.
In the forefront, in the forefront of the culture, they maintain the greatest degree of protection. That is because there's a great unification that happens, and when you have the same message being expressed from every single quarter, in that it's a bubble like anything else, but they happen to have the most exposure. The people who run the movies, the movie industry, and the people who run the music industry and so forth, historically have been able to pick and choose who gets to go where they go. That lightened up for a little while when the internet really sort of happened, but now the purveyors of internet availability have now decided to shut certain people down. But it's not to say that you cannot find a place to go. It just doesn't have the monopoly on exposure. So like they say about Twitter, Twitter is not common perception. It is not what everybody is thinking. It is a bubble. It's a very loud, often referenced bubble, but it's a bubble, and it'll pop at some point. it is the goal, I think, of a lot of these people is to make you think that you are in the vast minority or in the tiny minority, and they are the vast majority because they have the loudest voices, as Corey said. They have the greatest access to the spigots that we're talking about. And you know what? They own it, and they can use it however they want. Is it going to stop people from speaking against it? It depends. If you let people cancel, you have to let people cancel you. You have to acknowledge that you're canceled. Like I said, there's only one way to cancel me. And until then, I'm going to be out there. Do I not get exposure? Do I get a whole lot of negative press? Then fine. As long as you're talking, I've always been of the mind that I don't care what you say, just say my name.
And when you say you have to let people cancel you, when you say you have to let people cancel, do you mean like just let them succeed and let them be successful and just give up? Or do you mean let them have their try and continue doing what you want to do? Like even Alex Jones. Alex Jones is essentially canceled on all platforms, apparently. But he's still going and going strong. He's still going
hard. Exactly.
Rogan says whatever the fuck. He doesn't give a crap.
Right. And I mean, somebody like him has the protection. I doubt very much YouTube would shut him off because he simply has reached the point where you can't really shut him down. But somebody coming up who has limited platform and so forth, they're going to have a much harder road to slog than they have for the last, since the inception of these things like YouTube. Look at Crowder, for instance. Crowder's starting to get all kinds of strikes and everything like that. And he was one of the first YouTubers. So, it really depends. You cannot psychologically allow these people to get at you because you have to bring it around to how we got into this. You have to bring it around to the fact that these people who are after you often, if they hurt people, right? If you've been hurt, you often express that hurt on other people. You're refusing to deal with your own issues, and instead you're going to put all this crap on somebody else. It makes you feel better. Not really, but it makes you feel superior. That's why, for instance, a lot of these people who are running around talking about, white privilege and white supremacy and everything themselves are the supremacists. They are. There is no when you automatically, when you come from a point where you are saying, I have all the privilege, it's up to me to recognize that it's up to me to recognize that I'm better than you. You're a supremacist.
Yep.
You're a bigot, yeah.
But you haven't been taught that because you haven't been taught critical thinking because they would rather teach you how to play with like bananas and condoms than how to do math. So,
math is racist. You can't teach math anymore. Don't you know? 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4.
I saw a new little form out today. I can't remember who put it out, but all the signs of like evil whiteness, and I mean things like keeping a schedule.
You were talking about.
Keeping a schedule.
The schedule thing.
The nuclear family.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, frankly, I mean, now I was born.
Can we say something though? Can we say something about what Nick Cannon said?
I haven't even heard it, so.
Okay, well, maybe.